Welcome in to episode, what is this, 15 now? Goodness, of going the JC
15.
route. Boy, we're gonna act like a bunch of JUCO kids today. Let me tell you. This is your host JC. I'm here with the Birdman. Our third wheel is off third wheel and somewhere else again. I'm sure he'll be back soon. But Happy New Year to everybody. Hope everybody enjoyed their holidays. And now the grind's returned. We're back to another year. Hope everybody is happy and healthy, and we're gonna knock it off. But boy, let me tell you, I know we missed last week. Let me tell you this, has a ton of shit gone down in the last week or so. Yeah, sorry everybody, not for kids. I don't know, we'll see. First of all, make sure to like and subscribe. Hope everybody likes the content, comment, hey, let us know what we're doing good, what we're doing wrong, and what we can be better at. Second of all, and arguably, the more important note, we're praying for DeMar Hamlin. That was a rather graphic scene
really
last night. I was watching that game. I didn't have a dog in the fight last night. I was watching it for some other reasons, but the NFL finally decided to make the right call and postpone that game after an hour. But we're not doctors here. We're not physicians. We're not media personalities or journalists. Maybe someday, we'll see. But
hopefully won't. Yeah,
we're not gonna do our best Skip Bayless impression tonight.
I mean, all you can do right now is just wish him well, and hopefully he gets better, because that was, I mean, a lot of people all over Twitter, Facebook, whatever, were just, even people who don't watch sports were commenting on what happened yesterday, because that was just really, really scary and really unfortunate. And then, like I said, most people did, and then you have crapheads like shit Bayless, who is over here, who doesn't give a crap about anybody but himself, and then and like honest, and then he's just there to get publicity, and people respond to that, and I'm at the point where it's like, stop responding to him.
I mean, unfortunately, that's what it is these days with social media and that kind of stuff in general. Is you're farming for clicks, you're farming for impressions, you're farming for interactions, because that's what you pay at the end of the day. And unfortunately, when people are coming up with this sort of people are it's for the sake of getting responses.
Yeah, it's no longer fair and honest journalism. It's no longer just sitting there and being, everything right now is about being controversial. It's about what can I get people to click on, so that they can get either irritated or upset at me, but still get clicks. I mean, it's like who was it on ESPN? Bart Scott is over here arguing that it was T. Higgins' fault. It's like, no. Like, did he, like, it was a football move. It was a very unfortunate accident what happened to him, but it's nobody's fault. Why are you making such a bad accusation to a player who probably feels absolutely horrible that it happened on a tackle against him?
Yeah, dude, T. Higgins had no control over that whatsoever. You're playing football, dude. And as bad as Booger McFarland is, he crushed it last night, and he made.
They all did. Ryan Clark, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, everybody on that broadcast was extremely professional.
But I think Booger summed it up perfectly. It's football's a game, and when you're playing that game, it's a war, right? But while you're at war against each other, there's a mutual understanding of, hey, we're gonna get up, we're gonna shake hands and go home to our families when we're done. And that's one guy who may or may not get to talk to his family again. I know he's still in critical condition in the ICU right now, but we'll see, right? But all we can do is kind of hope and pray and all that good stuff to make sure he's good. Well, on a brighter note, have you seen this? Have you been following his toy drive fund?
I not closely, but I hear it's up to what, $5 million.
Yeah, so
It's probably more than that at this point. It's unbelievable it's unbelievable the support that the people of Buffalo in general are just incredible people for the donations that they give out. But
here's the backstory. DeMar, before he even hit the league, he started a toy drive for his neighborhood. Basically, when he was a senior in college, essentially, and he had a goal this year of raising $2,500. And after he had that injury, people found it, and in 24 hours now, we're pushing 6 million. Yeah. And what's really cool is if you go through like the list of donors, a lot of it is other NFL personalities: Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford. I saw Josh McDaniels in there, Christian McCaffrey, and numerous others.
Well, even non NFL people are doing it. Like Chris Jericho put in like 10,000.
Yeah, and I saw numerous like teams as a whole, like the Seahawks and the Commanders, just donate money, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's amazing what can happen after tragedies.
But we're gonna pray for him. We're gonna hope for the best. But I don't want to keep dragging this down because we're not medical professionals, so we're not going to get into some nitty gritty about some stuff we don't know about.
Nope.
On a lighter note, are the Cowboys going to win the division?
It depends on if I think it depends on if Jalen Hurts is able to play on Sunday. Because honestly, watching that game, I've heard here and there that he could be. I don't. I'll have to see him on Monday.
I feel like it might be one of those situations where he's available if they need him, but they probably won't start him. Because I feel like if they can give him that extra week or 2 weeks even to get healthy, they will. But I don't think. I think that if giving up the number 1 seed.
Well, if Gardner Minshew comes out in the first quarter and looks as bad as he did that entire game, they almost have no choice but to put Jalen Hurts.
Well, here's the thing. They did that against the Saints, who are not a very good team this year. They get the Giants this week, who are actually a decent team.
Yeah, but are they playing at the Meadowlands?
I'll take Daniel Jones over Andy Dalton.
So will I, at this point for sure. But are they playing at the Meadow? Because they played earlier in the year, and I believe the Meadowlands, like not even that long ago. And if I'm not mistaken, Philly crushed the Giants. So I think Jalen Hurts being in there.
Yeah, they are in Philly. Okay.
If Jalen Hurts is healthy and not. I mean, I don't know how healthy he's going to be, even if he starts. But I think that they're going to have to consider if he's going to play or not. If he's not taken, if they don't put him as out, but if he's got any type of chance to play, I think that they're going to play him. That was way harder to say than I.
So as of yesterday about 12:30, Ian Rappaport says he thinks that the Eagles believe Jalen Hurts will be ready to go week 18. So yeah.
So I think that, I don't know how confident you are if you're the Eagles to play Minshew after the way he looked against the Saints. I mean, like you said, the Saints aren't world beaters. They got Cam Jordan's pretty good, but there's nobody on there's nothing on that defense that should have given Minshew that much trouble.
Yeah.
And he was selling balls. He was I mean, he was getting hit a couple times, but it was just bad football from him. And
yeah, so unfortunately, I think it's going to come down to less of the Cowboys not getting it done this week and more of just the Eagles getting it done. I mean, we still shouldn't have lost to the freaking Jaguars or whoever else we lost to, but
Green Bay.
I mean, they're starting to look a little hot right now. I definitely don't want to play Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. Luckily, at best, if they win this week, they're sliding in as a 7 seed, so they get to play. What is it, Minnesota or San Francisco in the first round? Ugh.
I'm sure they'll. I mean, you saw what they did against Minnesota earlier.
I mean, honestly, I would much rather see San Francisco play Green Bay just because one of them gets out. One less thing. But that's the thing, though. You know what happens, right? Because the Cowboys are the 4 seed, or the 5 seed, and we're playing the 4 seed. You know who we get matched up with in round 2, right?
At the moment, I think isn't it Philly?
Yes, it's the Eagles. Because the 1 seed plays the winner of the 4-5, and then the winner of the 2-7 plays the winner of the 3-6. So if we're able to beat Tom Brady in Tampa, we get to go travel to Philly.
Sounds like fun.
I've been saying this for weeks, though. It's gonna happen. I don't care if I'm speaking it into existence. The Cowboys are gonna end up being the top wild card seed. We're gonna travel to a bad Tom Brady in Tampa Bay in the first round, and we're gonna lose. And we're gonna be here in 2 weeks complaining about it, like we didn't expect it. When you know what? I've been saying this for a month now.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I will complain about the Cowboys, the way the season started, I think you would have been happy if they had even made the playoffs. But now you're at the point where, you've exceeded all expectations from what you were supposed to be at the beginning of the year, especially after the first game. But now, if you play them again,
they came out and set our expectations pretty low. But
yes,
I mean, I said we're going to take a step back from last year, which honestly we have. But they're starting to put it together at the right time, and hopefully we can continue that. I never bet against Tom Brady in the playoffs. Sorry.
It's hard to. It's hard.
There's 2 players I never bet against in the playoffs. It's Tom Brady. Who's the other one?
Jalen Hurts?
No.
Kirk Cousins?
No.
Oh, is it the guy, the other guy in his division?
Yeah. It's Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
I'd never bet against Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. I understand they don't ever get it done, except that 1 year. But anytime they play the Cowboys, he seems to beat us. So, wouldn't that be some shit if we end up having to play the Packers in the NFC Championship game? I'll cry because he's going to beat us.
I've been to one. I saw him beat us at one game.
I can't. This is stressing me.
Maybe
out.
We get maybe we exercise the demon, but. I think if Green Bay plays the Niners as good as Aaron Rodgers is, I just see the Niners defense is too much for that offense.
You really think Brock Purdy's going to beat Aaron Rodgers?
I think the defense will.
Okay, fair.
I think the defense is good enough, and then you have a solid offense. I mean, Brock Purdy isn't a world beater, but like you look at the offense around.
Yeah, you have Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel. I don't want to hear about Brandon Ayuk. I don't. He's not a world beater. Sure, he's good.
What about George Kittle?
That's fair. You have George Kittle.
Okay.
And you have probably my favorite offensive lineman, Trent Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Silverback. And no, that is
But
not
we'll
racist.
see what happens.
Losers.
We'll see what happens.
But outside of football or outside of the NFL, we had some interesting some college football stuff go on this weekend. Had a couple of playoff games that were interesting, but I want to start here.
Oh, great! Interesting. They were
I want to start
great.
here, though. I want to start here.
Okay, I know where you're going.
Lincoln Riley and USC. How does it feel? USC fans, how does it feel? We told you this was going to happen when you got him, but you didn't want to listen. You said he was going to be different. He was going to improve. He was going to win you a natty. Sure, he got you a Heisman. Sure, Caleb Williams is great. He's fun to watch. But guess what?
He also has two.
It played out exactly how we said it was going to play out. His defense was going to suck. He was going to win you a bunch of games. He was going to win you a Heisman probably. Have an awesome offense, but he can't win the big game. And in this case, the big game means losing to Tulane, the Cotton Bowl, giving up 46 points. America wins when USC loses. So how does it feel? Yes. You didn't want to listen to us Oklahoma fans when we said, hey, his teams have gotten progressively worse. You didn't want to listen to us when we said, hey, he's got flaws. You didn't want to listen to us when we said, hey, our special teams isn't very good. Hey, we didn't want to listen to you when you said, hey, Alex Grinch isn't very good. Sure, Alex Grinch was an improvement over what we had with Mark Stoops. But honestly, anything was an improvement over Mark Stoops. Jesus, we're 129 out of 130. It's hard to get worse from there. It's very hard to get worse from there. But guess what? He's going to do the same thing next year. I honestly think at some point Alex Grinch has dirt on Lincoln Riley or something.
You know what's even what's even better with USC is that they're moving conferences. They are going to the Big Ten. And they're going to. I think that
the image of Lincoln Riley with USC standing on the sidelines of Rutgers in late November when it's -4 at 11 a.m. That's an awesome thought. But no, it's one of those things where I don't even want to call it a moral victory because it really isn't, but there's some kind of fulfillment when you realize it wasn't a program and it's just flaws with the head coach. He's got a track record. And honestly, I heard somebody say it yesterday. That 2017 season when we lost to Georgia in the Rose Bowl with Baker Mayfield. If he was still the OC and Bob didn't retire, we win the Natty that year. I'm starting to believe it. Because Jesus, what the hell?
His offenses are great, but I mean his defense is just
here's another
good.
Here's another funny thought. Caleb Williams' only bowl win is without Lincoln Riley as head coach.
I mean, he's got one more year. Maybe they put it all together and they go and win one. But I mean, it's going to be different. It'll be a lot different than.
It's going to frustrate me immensely when Caleb Williams wins the Heisman again next year.
He's a frustrating player. I mean, he's
that good.
Oh my gosh, he's good. Like you're watching him, and like you're like,
good.
How is Tulane not? I mean, they had to be exhausted from just trying to chase him around. But that's it's like trying to chase a dog.
I mean, Tulane gave up 45.
No way. Yeah. Well, like I was like after they.
You know why? You know why USC lost and it wasn't harder to win that game for Tulane? Because USC had that stupid special teams play at the end of the game. You see what happened?
I didn't. I was watching the game and then like what was it? It was like what was the final score?
46-45.
36-45. So like I saw like
no.
They
So
were up by about.
I'm gonna tell you what happened. Okay, so USC scores to put it up 42-30. Okay, Tulane's driving. Tyjae Spears, who is an awesome running back, carried my fantasy team this year. Fumbles the ball.
He played fantastic.
USC goes
And
down.
I think that
field goal to make it 45-30.
Mm-hmm.
Tulane goes down, gets a touchdown, big play touchdown, long pass touchdown, make it 45-37. I was listening to Willie Fritz's interview after the game. He's like, we were debating on whether to onside kick it or kick it deep, and he said the book said to kick it deep slightly, so they kick it deep. Well, Mario Williams fields it at the 2-yard line, fumbles it out of bounds at the 1. Very first play, Tulane gets a safety, make it 45-39. USC kicks it to Tulane. They go down, get a touchdown with 9 seconds left to win the game, 46-45. So, not only is USC's defense to blame, Lincoln Riley's perspective on having a specific special teams coach has failed, because he has a quote. And let me see if I can find the quote. Because it's a gold quote. Yes, so here's the quote. I've never believed in one coach that's doing something for 2 periods of practice a day, then what's he doing the rest of the time? Let's have guys that are coaching guys all the time, everywhere. If the rules ever change in terms of staff regulation, we'll go back and evaluate. But for now, not having a special teams coordinator is something we very much believe in. So he had this philosophy back in Oklahoma too. We had Shane Beamer, who came after we lost to Georgia. He came over from Georgia. And he was actually like our tight ends, halfbacks coach, and doubled as our special teams coach. While he was here, our special teams was awesome because he's a special teams guy. The term Beamer ball doesn't come from anywhere.
What was it? Was it South Carolina who had an incredible? Was it?
Yes.
Did South Carolina have an incredible special teams play in the bowl game? Yeah, okay.
They've since Shane Beamer's gone to South Carolina, they've had incredible special teams both years.
It's almost like he learned it from his dad.
It's almost as if special teams is actually important. But Lincoln Riley continues to show that that's not important to him, and that's another one of his flaws as far as why they're going to struggle to get over the top and win the big one.
It's one of those things that you almost don't pay attention to because it's such a small part of the game, but it has a huge impact on the game. I mean, you talk about the USC situation. Virginia Tech was really good with special teams under Frank Beamer. I mean, Shane Beamer's carried on that legacy. And then Arkansas had one of the worst, stupidest special teams moments in the ball game we played against. I mean, like, you don't realize how huge it is until you either miss an extra point or you have some kind of blunder like Mario Williams did in the bowl game. And it'll cost you. As does defense. But hey, at least they have good offenses.
America was Tulane fan. America was a Tulane fan yesterday.
I was watching Tulane. I wanted Tulane to win. Tyjae Spears, their running back, was fantastic. Their quarterback played really well too. Like I was expecting. It was
really funny
him to. I'm talking.
Go for it. Fine.
It wasn't like I was expecting him to run for a little bit, and then I was expecting, I don't know, I guess USC to kind of hone in on that. But then their quarterback was making plays as well. It was a fantastic game, not just by him, but just by the offense making plays whenever they needed it to. Because like as bad as USC's defense is if you make stops, USC's offense is good enough to make you pay, and can blow you out if your defense is good enough. They just weren't, and they made plays whenever they needed to.
We'll see what happens next year.
They got one more year. Like I said, they got one more year. Except you're not playing the Pac-12 anymore. You got to go play in the Big 16 now.
It was the funniest thing looking at Twitter and message boards yesterday after the game, and Trojans fans are already like, you got to fire Alex Grinch. And if Lincoln Riley doesn't fire Alex Grinch, then Lincoln Riley needs to go. And I'm like, dudes, what? I agree, but what? It's okay. Lincoln Riley will take the Denver Broncos job this year. It's fine.
Oh, speaking of coaches that might leave to go to the NFL, you hear about Jim Harbaugh possibly looking into going to the NFL? Which he's done for a few years. But
he wanted to go last year, and it was really serious last year. But he ended up staying. And at this point, it's pretty clear that the NFL is where he wants to be. But I understand the sentiment of the situation's got to make sense. And he's got a really, really good team right now.
Mm-hmm. He's got a good thing going.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they were closer this year than they were last year of winning it all. And now you're bringing back a third-year J.J. McCarthy.
I mean,
you're bringing back a Donovan Edwards in his second year, and you're also going to have another really, really good offensive line.
I mean, you're in theory, you almost think that there were a couple calls that was missed in the game that could have given them the victory.
Was that last play targeting?
I'd have to go back and look at it. I'm thinking about that one and then the Georgia one.
My thing is about that last play in TCU Michigan was it looked like targeting. Like he led with the crown of his helmet. He launched. It looks like he went to his shoulder blades. It didn't hit him in the helmet.
Well, not just that one, but what about? Did you think that was a touchdown? Towards the that, there was a ball that was thrown, and he caught it right at where the goal line was, but it looked like he adjusted to make the catch and then fell back into the end zone. But the official said that he had caught it right before the goal line and didn't score.
Which game is this in? Michigan,
TCU. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Was that because because in hindsight, if everything goes accordingly, that's the winning game. That wins them the game.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I have to go back and watch it again. These games were just so much fun.
Oh my gosh!
Here's the thing, though. Michigan in their game also made a ton of mistakes because without TCU's 2 pick sixes, they lose that game by 2 scores. Michigan played well enough to win. They just had more mistakes than TCU did, so they lost the game.
That's what it boiled down to. I mean, that was.
But dude, they have such a strong chance to be really, really good again next year. But we'll have to see, because apparently Ryan Day is changing what he's doing next year. Did you hear about that?
No.
Apparently Ryan Day is going to get a play caller next year. He's not going to call plays next year, and he's going to become more of a team manager, head coach.
Okay.
Which, to be fair, they played a really, really good game against Georgia. Honestly, I really wanted them to win because I feel like Ohio State TCU would have been a lot more fun than Georgia TCU. But then again, it's still going to be a lot of fun.
I think it's going to be. I mean, I think that I'll say this about TCU. I have never gone from being pessimistic about a team to being optimistic about a team in the span of 2 games. This quickly. Like I was like, I remember the day before TCU played Kansas State. I was like, there's no reason why Max Duggan should win the Heisman. And then he goes out and on that last drive alone, did some of the most heroic stuff I've ever seen in a football player.
I'll tell you what, if they win that game,
died.
If they win that game, he might win the Heisman. I mean, he was pretty far back from Caleb Williams, but
that's a Heisman moment. Like that moment alone sends him to New York. I don't think there's a moment in college football because they had some really nice moments, but that was the moment where they were just like he's going to New York, and that's the moment where I was like he's going to New York because the day before I was like no, I guess you can do it to like give him a pat on the back, but at the moment I didn't feel like he deserved it. But that game, the Big 12 championship game, he deserved it. And then the game on Saturday, he absolutely deserved it because they were punch for punch. It was another game where I underestimated them. I underestimated TCU. I expected Michigan to kind of walk over them. Maybe I think I expected a little close of a game, and then third or fourth quarter, you just see the might of Michigan just start to pull out and make it a game, and they never did. TCU came up with big play after big play after big play, and
not only that, Michigan's whole thing was we're going to smash you in the mouth and we're going to beat you physically.
And they couldn't.
TCU stood in there, took every punch they had, and then punched them back.
Yeah, that was impressive of a win from an underdog.
I saw a tweet during the games on Saturday, and it was like TCU is Ivan Drago, and I was like, huh.
Really?
Huh. Interesting. We'll see how that plays out on Monday.
And I'm at the point now where if you have Max Duggan under center, TCU has a great chance to win.
Here's the thing.
They may not win.
He's gone after this year.
Huh?
His stock is not going to be any higher next year.
No, it's not. I mean, he is great moment as a college player. He may not do much.
Still, that being the case, though, TCU is going to be really good next year. Chandler Morris is an awesome quarterback still, and they're going to have an insane transfer class as well. So they may not be. I mean, they might not be national championship contenders next year, but they're going to be a damn good football team next year.
Oh yeah, I believe that. I mean, just the stock on TCU after this year has got to skyrocket because nobody expected them to be anywhere close to this good.
No.
But like I said, as long as you have Max Duggan under center on is it Monday?
Monday, yes.
Monday. As long as you have him under center, I think that TCU and Georgia is going to be a hell of a game.
Dude, so their transfers already. Avery Helm, a 6'2" corner out of Florida. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Are we here?
Yeah, what happened?
Are we here? I don't know. Sorry. Technical difficulties. No, I was saying, so TCU's transfer class already. 6'2" corner Avery Helm from Florida. JoJo Earl. Remember JoJo Earl playing at Alito? Wide receiver that went to Bama. Awesome wide receivers coming back to TCU. Jack Beck, who was a really good tight end at LSU, transferring to TCU. And then Tommy Brockermeyer, who is a Texas legacy, 5-star offensive tackle. He was like a top 10 player in the country. Yeah, number 6 in the country coming out of high school. Went to Alabama. Now he's coming out. Now he's coming to TCU. So, yeah, they're going to be pretty good next year.
Yeah, I don't think that they'll be as good as they were this year, but they're going to be pretty stout.
Yeah.
I could be wrong though, because I've been wrong before, and I was wrong about. Everybody was just about everybody was wrong about TCU. So who knows what they'll do next year?
I think they're gonna be really good, but we're gonna have to find out to see. We'll see what happens Monday night. Who went? What's your prediction for Monday night?
Score. I say Georgia finds a way to win. I think it'd be very, very close. Maybe 35-30, something like that.
35-30. Isn't the line like Georgia minus 13 or something like that?
I haven't checked.
You know what? It's one of those things where I want TCU to win because I think it'd be really cool.
This
but
place is gonna go insane.
But my money's on Georgia.
It's hard to not to, but like I think TCU's gonna punch like they did against Michigan. But I think Georgia's experience in the national game will show out, and I think they're gonna just be a little more prepared.
I think more than anything, their quote unquote experience didn't really show out against Ohio State because Ohio State doesn't really have that much experience in a couple of years. It's been a couple of years, but their talent did. Georgia has like the highest blue chip ratio of any team in the country minus Bama, I'm pretty sure. And now it's just me. Or are you back? I don't know. I'll keep rambling for a minute while he's coming back. I don't know if it's my connection or his connection. As soon as I see him ready to go, I'll add him back. But kind of like I was talking about, Georgia has the highest blue chip ratio of any team in the country. This side of Bama, it looks like he's ready again. You back now?
Yes.
So they're one of, if not the most talented team in the country, and I think that difference, even with TCU's buy-in and their synergy and the way they play together, I feel like Georgia's talent is going to come out because when it comes down to it, Georgia is more talented than Ohio State, but it's a lot closer than you would believe. That gap, I feel like, is going to show against TCU. It may not be right away. It may not be in the first half, but I feel like it's going to be a situation kind of like you thought the Michigan game would be, where they pull away in the second half.
Right. Okay.
I think Georgia will pull away in the second half, and they probably cover. I was looking on ESPN. It's minus 12.5, so I'd say they probably cover that.
A lot of times whenever you get a team that's either experienced or should know better in the big game, maybe it takes a while, and maybe Ohio State was that punch in the mouth that they're like, okay, time to wake up. And the thing is that it's Georgia and Ohio State. They're going to probably be more talented than most teams that they come across. Then to your point, unfortunately for TCU, they're the least talented out of the 4 teams that were in the playoffs. They found an amazing. They found a amazing way to beat Michigan, but I think that could be the case. But I'm still going to think that TCU's will to just compete will still be there, and I still think it's going to be close. But like I said, I think that Georgia just has too much for TCU.
I'm guessing we'll find out. I guess we have to get to it. Your game and my game. I'll be honest. I want to start with your game because we were at Hooters watching Arkansas Kansas together, and we left beginning of the fourth quarter because we're like, it's out of hand, it's fine, we don't need to worry about it. I was actually watching the stream on my phone while I was driving home. Well, I wasn't watching it while I was driving. I was listening to it while I was driving. Shut up. But with 4 minutes left, Arkansas was up 15, and I was like, oh, it's fine. I turned it off. But then I get home, and I open Twitter, and it's like, oh, we're going overtime. Excuse me? What? So I watched the fun that was the 3 overtimes. But congratulations on your win against Kansas.
Yeah, that was awful. First off, there was a play in the game where they called it a fumble, and it should have never been called a fumble. That was recovered by Kansas. That would have more than likely iced the game. And then our special teams. You want to talk about special teams? We had some of the dumbest special teams I've ever seen in my life. I don't know. Like we had was it 4 or 5 guys? We had 2 guys behind the 5 or 4 or 5 guys at the front, and then they kicked the onside kick, and nobody at the front of the line touches the ball. The ball just, and then Kansas recovers it. I'm like, what the, like whoever was I can't remember who the special teams guy is, should have been fired on the spot, and it is on it. We somehow staked off being embarrassed on national television. I mean, we were already embarrassed.
Kansas was a good team this year. They weren't great. They weren't very good. They were good. They were good enough to win that game. Arkansas pulled it out. But I'll tell you what, if Kansas gets enough returning production and they can keep building, they might be a scary team to play next year. Speaking of which, I really want the Big 12 to release their schedule because
you got new teams to play.
Yeah, but
before you have more new teams to play.
Is what's gonna be weird is what's gonna happen is they're gonna give us 2 of the 4 editions, and they're gonna take off 2 of the regulars. So who are they taking off? Well, they're not going to take off Texas. They're not going to take off Oklahoma State.
That's criminal if they do.
Now, you know what's going to happen, though? They're going to give us Texas and Oklahoma State. They're going to have us travel to Cincinnati or something stupid like that. And they're going to have us travel to UCF. We're going to get 2 away games for those. And then they're going to make us travel to TCU. And they're going to make us travel to Lawrence. And they're going to make us travel to Manhattan. And we're like, that's just how the schedule's going to go, dude. I'm telling you right now. Well, count it. At Cincinnati, at UCF, in Manhattan, in Lawrence, and in Fort Worth. Oh, and Stillwater. That's our 6 away games right there.
Who's your non-conference? Or do you have any idea who non-conference is?
You're right. Take out Manhattan. They'll make us go to Stillwater. Our non-conference, I saw it earlier. I know week 2 we have SMU in Norman.
Oh, yeah, because you and AJ are talking about going to that game.
Yep. I know our 3rd one's away. Yeah, so we have Arkansas State in Norman, SMU in Norman. We have at Tulsa.
Tulsa?
Plus, I know this. Yeah, I know. Shut up. I know this coming year, no matter what happens, actually probably one of the newbies will probably be a home game. But that gives us at Tulsa, at Fort Worth. Well, we're at Fort Worth this year, but with our luck, they'll send us there again. With the new realignment or whatever it is. But we have at Tulsa, at Fort Worth, at Stillwater, at Lawrence. What am I missing? Shit.
Say at UCF?
Oh yeah, at Cincinnati, and then at somebody else. Who knows? But they'll probably send us to Provo in December.
Oh wow!
But whatever. Yeah, this year was pretty difficult for us, I'd say.
Oh, it was I hated the yeah. I mean, there was definitely a stretch where y'all were not good, and then for me, it was just it felt
So
like a disappointing season.
So here's some perspective. Last year, OU went 6-2 in one-score games.
Mm-hmm.
This year we're 1-6.
Yeah, something's need to change, and also,
well, you know what changed, right? Heisman quarterback left.
Oh, that you have some new coaches that had to.
Well, so here's my biggest gripe with people that say, "Oh, OU is one of the top 10 most talented rosters in the country." Yes, sure, but they're still the same players that were coached by the last regime, minus a couple that left, right? So what people don't realize is we're about the same team as we were last year. That's just a fact. But the fact was we weren't that good last year. But because we had a Heisman quarterback, we were winning those close games. Without that quarterback, we're losing those close games now. So instead of being 10-2, 9-3, we're 6-7 now. So that when you have elite quarterback play, that's one of those things that Lincoln Riley's experiencing is that hides a lot of the problems you have. But
yeah, no, that definitely does. I mean, that's the reason why Oklahoma. That's the reason y'all were good with Baker Mayfield. That's the reason y'all were pretty good with
Baker Mayfield's last year. We were actually a solid team.
Yeah, no, you were, but then there's that decline with Lincoln Riley's teams where the quarterback gets not as good, but then the talent also gets not as good. Well, but I think the one thing that Lincoln Riley does have is the ability to go steal people because he's a crook he's got the ability to go steal people from the transfer from other colleges. Also the Xavier Worthy, but he never went.
He still might go, dude.
There's talk. But like I said, like that's the difference. I think that this transfer portal really benefits him.
Well, that's the thing. The quarterback play's hidden the problems. First year with Baker Mayfield, we had a legitimately good team, but his little lapses in coaching or whatever it may be cost us a natty that year. With the next year with Kyler, we had another Heisman winning quarterback. Kyler was the best quarterback in the country. We had the second to last worst defense in the country. But because Kyler Murray was a Heisman winner, it hit all the problems. Then we had Jalen Hurts, right? Our defense improved a little bit first year under Grinch, but our quarterback play was still really good. We had a runner-up Heisman, but wasn't quite as good. We were really good, but we weren't good enough to take that next step. But then we saw in COVID year with Spencer Rattler. Actually, Spencer Rattler's first year there, or the year he started, the COVID year, he was actually really good. We started slow, but we finished really, really strong. Definitely. What?
I think it was kind of attitude with Spencer Rattler, but I think a
COVID
perfect game that
weird, kind of actually.
Yeah, I think a perfect game that summarizes what you're talking about was the game against Texas, where Spencer Rattler comes in, struggles, you're down by 14 twice, and then Caleb Williams, a really talented, uber talented, super duper, whatever, talented quarterback comes in, and he shows out, and y'all end up winning that game. That's, I think, the game that really summarizes what you're talking about whenever you talk about Oklahoma's ability or inability or whatever you want to call it to disguise the discrepancies within that football team.
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes it takes a great player to really hide the discrepancy. I mean, you look at a different team, but Auburn with Cam Newton. That team's 7-5 at best without Cam Newton. With Cam Newton, they go and win a national championship game. So, yeah.
It's frustrating, but we'll see what happens. I want the Big 12 to go ahead and release the schedule for next year. Because this is the thing, we don't even know our schedule yet next year. Like other than our non-conference, we know our non-conferences, but we don't know our conference schedule yet, which is annoying because I want to see what we're facing. I'm sure we'll get it sometime this month or next month. It's got to come quickly though, because people got to prepare for that shit. I did enough work in college or enough work alongside college administrators, college sports administrators in college. I understand what it takes to put on those kinds of events and like travel and logistics and all that stuff. It's not easy. And that shit takes time to organize. So I know they've got to release it sooner than later, but we got to see when that is actually.
Yeah. But you know what's really unfortunate?
What's that?
Is that Monday's the last college football game until August.
I mean, not if you include spring games.
Okay. Like, they're
I'll
fun,
tell you what,
I guess.
though. You know what spring brings?
The XFL?
It's softball season, baby.
So it's also baseball season.
I'll stick with softball for now until I see if Oklahoma's good or not.
What? We should be pretty good. But first, basketball season, and then end March.
Oklahoma's gonna let me down again. We just can't score enough, dude. Our defense is solid. We just can't score with the best.
You've got a very inconsistent basketball, because like you've got shooters, but like shooters can only win you so many games. You have to have somebody
we have decent enough scorers, but they're not playmakers.
You don't have any slashers or anybody that can like get you like a bucket off the dribble or.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, we have decent scorers, but they're streaky. So what ends up happening is we can't. Well, if we can keep it, if we can turn games into a rock fight and have one of those like 60, 65, 60 to 59 games, we'll probably win. But if we start trying to get into the 70s or 80s, we can't score with the best. So consistently.
But that also comes and goes because you talk about the ability to score at times. Well, some games you just come out and you just and you might even be able to find a way to upset somebody up down the road. But like, you know, whenever you got a streaky team, it's hard to win consistently. Yeah, I mean, I saw Oklahoma firsthand, and they're scrappy at times, but I mean, Arkansas was a better team. I saw
this chart. Either yesterday or the day before, and it was ranking the toughest remaining schedules in college basketball. The top 10 are all 10 Big 12 teams.
All Big 12 teams?
Literally, the top 10 toughest remaining schedules in college basketball are owned by every Big 12 team. 1 through 10.
Funny. That's
Big 12 basketball is what SEC football thinks they are.
SEC basketball's got pretty good though.
They are, but we'll see.
And our OU
softball might not lose a game this year, though. Honestly.
So it's another natty there.
Oh yeah.
Arkansas's got a lot of talent, but it's young.
Our backups might be the second best team in the league in college softball. Literally, I think we talked about this last time we got together. we got a starting pitcher transfer. We got 2 of the best hitters in the country transfer there, in addition to a returning freshman pitcher, and we have a returning junior pitcher. We're running 3-4 arms deep plus 12 to 15 batters deep. Good luck.
It's not gonna be. It's not going. Doesn't. It sounds like it's not gonna be fun for any team that plays Oklahoma.
Well, OU went like what 50 something and 4 last year.
But all it takes is a down.
Well, so here's what happened though.
A down week, I guess.
Well, here's what happened though. Where OU softball separated themselves last year was whenever they would lose, they wouldn't lose again back to back. That was the thing was, and anytime we played a team twice, they couldn't beat us twice. Texas beat us once. They didn't beat us the rest of the season. Who would play in the finals? Florida State, something like that. They couldn't beat us twice. They beat us game 1 and we won. We reverse swept them. But that was the story all year. So it'll be a fun story to watch. We'll keep track of it. We've been going about an hour, so I think it's time to shut it down. It's getting late.
Yeah, the Stars are playing right now, so I gotta go watch that.
I'm gonna go watch the Stars play as well. Next week when we hop on, we're gonna review the national championship game. Hopefully TCU wins, and hopefully at least it's a good game.
That's what I'm hoping for.
We're also going to preview the NFL playoffs because we should have an idea of what's going on by then. But until that time, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate everybody that spends time with us. Like I said before, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know you like it. Stay with us. Make sure to follow us on Twitter as well at MacyRoutePod. We'll see you when we see you. Until next time.
Goodbye.